Welcome to Billy Review Stuff, where I review stuff. Today we're looking at Mezco Toys' The Goon series from 2005. If you don't know what The Goon is a comic book series written and drawn by Eric Powell. It takes a violent atmosphere and a supernatural slant, which pits the titular characters against undead creatures, zombies, ghost ghouls, mutants, skunk apes with an unnatural hunger for pies, giant squids, mob gang leaders, extra-dimensional aliens, mad scientists, robots, you name it, it's got it in there. I started reading this when I was in college, and I was instantly just like fell in love with the kind of noir 1930s vibe and just like the funny stuff. It's over the top and outlandish. I love it. But I found the figures on eBay like way back in the day. Back in the day, I picked up The Goon, I think for like $25 around like 2010 or so. And I also picked up the Zombie Priest. And until recently, I didn't pick up Franky and Joey the Ball until I started doing reviews. And I was like, this is my chance to do a whole review on these because no one has these out there. Because now that Mezco Toys has blown up and has their 112 collective, these things just don't get talked about. But let's start off with, from, in my opinion, at least the greatest. We'll start off with Joey the Ball. So, Joey the Ball in the comic is a very small man who has an incredibly muscular right arm because it got stuck in a bowling ball. He's got a reputation of having little intelligence. Because of this, he uses brute strength in his conflicts. His articulation is as follows. He has the slightest, it's super slight. Honestly, some of these are more like articulated statues, but the thing is, the sculpting on them is amazing. Everything's sculpted by Igor Fernandez. This is from 2005. I cannot find anything on Igor Fernandez as of today. I don't know what happened to him. He fell off the map if he works for Mezco Toys anymore. I know he did a little bit of sculpting on Scarface, some figures and stuff at the time, but I can't really find much of anything on him. But, okay, back to articulation. He has a hinge joint at the shoulder. It can rotate around some. It's not super there. Has a twist at the top of his bicep, and then he has another little, oh my god, oh, my nose is just dying right now, I hate to say, but he has a hinge at the wrist, so all he can really do is put his hand on his hip. He has a twist at the waist, he has a twist at both of his feet, no ball joints. The most articulation is going to be in his right arm, which is amazingly sculpted. This is a amazingly veiny, crazy looking arm there. Let me get a little bit more light on that correctly. Yeah, it's amazingly sculpted. Again, I can't find anything on Igor Fernandez. I wish I could because I'd love to see what he's doing now. He has this is a ball socket on the shoulder. It doesn't have a lot of range, but it has the most range in, I think, all the figures. He has a hinge at the elbow, a twist above the wrist, a little cut right there, and then the ball, the ball is glued in there, so you can't take off the bowling ball. And then he comes with his crate accessory, so he feels like a big man. In the almost got. He has a little twist at the top of his head, and then he has a hinge for his neck. Oh, Lord Almighty! But yeah, I love the look to his face. I'm not a big fan of having eyes pre-positioned. Oh my god, I'm not a big fan of having eyes pre-positioned. But just the way these figures are, they're more like articulated statues, and I'm okay with that. Joey the Ball is not my favorite character. I would have not chosen him to be in this line, but in 2005, for where the story was in the comics, he probably was the closest to being like a character they'd want to pick from, but they had where like the characters have like since then. I think it's even still ongoing. My understanding is it's picked up by Dark Horse, so I think there's still issues being put out. I need to check on that. But Joey the Ball, at this point in the comics, he's dead. He had where he put a hit out on, what was it, Charlie and Bill Mudd, the Boglerks, and he had his head crushed in by a stump. So, yeah. He has no other accessories. Let's move on. Okay, the Zombie Priest is a sinister figure who created a gang of flesh-eating zombies through means of magic. He's got a couple different names. My favorite is later on in the comics when they go ahead and just give out his real name, and it's Rumpelstiltskin. And every time someone says that, and I love seeing like the Goon just say it to him just to like cause him pain and discomfort to the point where he's almost throwing up from hearing his own name. It's really wonderful. But as you can see, the sculpt on this guy is amazing. Let's go over how this works here. He has a soft vinyl hat here. Let me get that unzoomed. Get some more light on that. Yeah, he has a soft vinyl hat, and it has a face stitched on it, and it's fantastic looking. The only other accessory he comes with is a skull, which is exquisitely sculpted. Like this reminds me a lot of the Four Horsemen skulls. If you give me a second, right there we go. That's better. This is a Four Horsemen skull. This is the skull sculpted by Igor Hernandez. They are fantastic. If you find the Zombie Priest in a fodder lot or something like that, it would be fantastic to use as fodder for Mythic Leisure custom figure. And it even has like a little hole in the bottom of it, so you place it into his thumb or something like that, or onto something. A lot of these figures have where they work together, kind of odd, but excuse me, we'll go over that later because there's more accessories that come with other figures that have where they interact with each other. Back to the Zombie Priest. Let's see here. The Zombie Priest articulation is not excessive, to say the least, because he has a ball-jointed head that can, twist all the way around. Why would you do that? I don't know. He's Rumpelstiltskin. Up, down, back, and around. He has a twist at the top of his suit jacket. Well, at the shoulder of his suit jacket. Can you get a lot out of it? Not really. Hinge at the elbow. No twist or anything on the bicep. So that is, you gotta really work it to get some motion out of there. And he has a twist at his wrists, or really at his cuffs. So the only kind of unsightly, because I mean, like, this basically is a statue, unsightly cuts are at his elbows then, because like without those, it'd practically almost be seamless with how it works with his suit. He has a twist at the waist, but you can't do too much with it. And then he has twists at his shoes, which are nerve-wracking, I will say, to stand him, or at least have him on a rotational stand. Because the way his shoes are, these fine and dandy shoes, he will rock forward sometimes, but you can get some emotion out of there, some different kind of poses and stuff, especially with the neck. That really adds to it, because it's just, you get him with that just sinister look. I know a lot of people don't like pre-posed eyes, much like I don't, but with him and what he comes with, it kind of works out accessory-wise. I'm gonna stick that on his thumb. There we go. Franky is the Goon's buddy, his right-hand man. His weapon of choice, is my favorite thing, because now we're actually getting into figures with accessories, is a switchblade. And that also goes with his catchphrase, "Knife to the eye." And let me pull out the zoom here. If, as you can tell, his switchblade comes with a eye on the knife blade, which is pretty awesome. Let's get back to the figure here. Franky has where he is small, much like Joey the Ball, but don't say anything to him about that. But he has a removable hat. He has like that classic 1930s look to him where he doesn't have pupils. So he could be looking anywhere, but I just love how it looks. He has drawn on hair, which it looks just like the comic. He has the the disc in the neck, and then a twist at the top, well, the bottom of his base of his head, neck. He has the same kind of articulation. His shoulders, he can get 360 out of those. He does not have I wish he had rotational anything at the elbow there, but it's just the cut at the elbow. He rotates at the wrist, and he actually has swappable hands, so you can actually swap out his hands for a pair of open ones. You can have some open hands if you wanted to. So he can hold his machine gun, but he can't hold it with both hands, which is kind of lame, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to take this out of his hand. There we go. He has a twist at the waist, and then he has twists at the feet, much like Joey the Ball does. Again, I wish these figures had holes for stands in the bottom of them, but again, before that time. His other accessories are this sweet hammer, which is just, it comes into play in the comics, you know, bashing in someone's skull who needed it. You could do this with two hands, so that's a fun look for him. The Build-A-Figure here, it was separated out into the legs, the chest area, the arms, and the head. The head came with the Goon. Why I want to do him next is his accessories, because he doesn't have accessories. The accessories that work with him, because usually you have a Build-A-Figure nowadays. It's all the parts from a Marvel Legend one, and put them all together, and you get a small dog or a huge, amazing figure that's actually worth paying $25 a piece for each figure. But with Franky, he came with his switchblade with an eye on it, which is the zombie eye. And there is let's unlock the zoom. There is a tiny little divot in there that I would have never known about unless I bought all the figures. Because, like, even when I had this, like, for years, I never saw where you could just take and something could go in there. And now you have a zombie with a knife in its eye. It's fantastic. The switchblade just in there. But for a Build-A-Figure, it has some decent articulation. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't all. He's just a statue. He has a twisted neck, twisted up at the top of his arms. I mean, like, he's pre-posed pretty well. There is a double ball joint in here, amazingly, to do nothing basically with. So you can get some good zombie poses out of it. But even then, like, he has where he's sculpted in such a way that it's just like you can only do so much before he tips over to the left. So it's a balancing act somewhat, but it's super cool. Oh, skipping ahead, the Goon comes with an axe, and it goes right in the back of his head. So you can have oh, maybe you can have one if it doesn't fall over. You could have a slack jaw zombie that's seen better days after meeting Franky and the Goon. And speaking of the Goon, we're going to move on to the final figure. The Goon is the defender and local hero of Lonely Street. Alongside his best friend Franky, he protects his home from mobsters, zombies, vampires, and a plethora of other supernatural oddities. Now, I bought the Goon back in like 2010, 2011, I think I said. he has an amazing sculpt. From his A shirt, there's just like a slight amount of just like yellow in there, so you kind of see like where it's, well, skin tone in there where it's like it's kind of passing through just a little bit. That may just be like a paint defect, or just maybe intentional. It's so old, but like I like how it looks. He has, let's see here, he has green jeans on. The way this works with his articulation, it looks really good. One of the main things that I love about this figure is the sculpt work. It's kind of amazing. So in one of the issues, Chinatown, it has where it goes over like what happened to the Goon's face. Let me get in close on the Goon's face here, because it's amazingly sculpted. Let's get this in there. So, the Goon in Chinatown, it shows what happened to him. So, like, you can pull off his hat. If I could pull it off. There we go. And this is the Goon's face. You can kind of tell that he has one dead eye. He is severely burned from his encounter with one of the gang leaders in Chinatown. It's fantastic just how much detail they put into that. Like, this is on par with stuff we see from Mezco today. I really wish out of all the figures here today, I wish this one would get a revisit in the 112 collective, because it's perfect. It would blend in with like the Dick Tracy line they have going. It even has like the shaved head detail. There is very small, let's see if we get it. Yeah, just, you can see the bumps and little snips and snags and everything from, like, getting his hair cut. It's there. It's amazing. Okay. Yep. Drop the shit out of that. Okay. But, going over articulation with the Goon, he has... He's the only one with, it has to be hidden in there. I can't quite see. It's some sort of ball joint there, because you can't see a disc or anything in there. It's got to be a double ball in there or something. He has ball socket shoulders, so his arms can only go up so high, but he can do a 360 with them. Oh, you can hear that. His arms are rotocast. He has a hinge at the elbow, but there's still just barely any articulation there. Twist at the wrists. He has a ball joint at the top of his torso, and then a twist at the waist. He has ball socket hips. He has, like, a hinge knee, but again, it's just, like, barely anything there. And he has ball jointed feet. So he can get a lot of stuff out of there. It's fair articulation in there. Again, these are just articulated statues, but this one is the best articulated statue. Let's see her pop his hat back on there. Just looks more the Goon with it on. Some of the accessories are a his size handgun, a hammer, the axe I showed earlier, 2 alternate hands, which we'll go ahead and say are a pain to pull out since they're rotocast. I would suggest heating up both wrists before you try to pull them out, because they are a pain in the butt. Like, my hands hurt from messing with them. And his final accessory, which took the longest for me to find, because like it was lost for a long time, is Labrazio's Black Book. This is what the Goon uses to call on a bunch of favors or debts that people owed Labrazio, the gangster that he works for. But it's a fantastic figure. They're all fantastic figures. If you have them, it may be worth it to complete your set if you have the Goon to start with. I've seen some of the sets on eBay now have where it's like, you can buy the whole set for like, maybe like $300, which is a lot, but there's not a lot of merchandise out there for the Goon. The last I heard about what's going on with some of the like media with the Goon, in 2022, they said there's a Netflix adaptation movie going to be done soon. But I mean, there's a short by David Fincher on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. That's fantastic. It has what's his face? I can't remember his name right now. Lord, Sideways. The movie Sideways. Nuts. Paul Giamatti. There was a short by David Fincher done up. There was a Kickstarter to try to make a movie for the Goon way back in the day. There was a short that had Paul Giamatti voicing Franky, and it's fantastic. It's I'm definitely putting a link down in the description. If they actually put a movie on Netflix of the Goon, I think it'll be fantastic. It's a perfect place for it. I'd love a series, not like a like 24 episode series, but like a 6 episode series. It'd be fantastic. The quality of these figures from 2005 is amazing. Again, I'd love for Mezco to revisit the Goon and get me like a 112 collective Goon and Franky, or just the Goon, because after seeing Bluto that they did, they can easily do justice to another figure of the Goon. So, down in the comments, let me know if you like this retro review. Let me know if you know about the Goon, or if you're going to take a look at the Goon, Hellboy, any kind of stuff that came from like Dark Horse, DC and stuff back in the day that still has, where it has that awesome fanfare and nostalgic love of just like supernatural, weird, noir stuff. I love it to death. But thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next video.